Hey guys, my name's Leith and I'm a tall, heavyweight calisthenics athlete. I'm 187 centimeters and 85 kgs, and I want to help all of you who are taller athletes to get into calisthenics. The majority of calisthenics athletes out there who are achieving these skills are shorter athletes, and the advice that they provide is tailored towards what works for them. What I want to do is I want to provide you with information and knowledge specifically for you, yourself, as a taller athlete. This is going to be a complete guide focused around a taller athlete learning awesome skills. You see, as a taller athlete, you have longer lever lengths and are heavier. Now this can make things a little bit harder when it comes to some skills, but there are some real positives to doing calisthenics as a heavier and taller athlete. Firstly, because you are heavier, building muscle is actually easier with bodyweight calisthenics. The second thing is there is almost no difference in learning calisthenics skills like handstands and one-arm handstands. Because these skills are skill dominant, it means that there's not really any difference between you and someone shorter or lighter learning these awesome skills. Another thing is that because we have longer torsos generally, we have bigger backs. And because of this, we can produce more force in a pulling motion. So generally you'll find taller athletes and yourself will progress faster with pulling movements like weighted pull-ups or even one-arm pull-ups. As a heavier athlete, there are some really important things that you need to focus on so that you can progress quickly and safely through calisthenics. The first thing is, being a heavier athlete, we need to focus more on warming up the joints. This is because we have more weight and therefore we're putting more emphasis on the tendons and ligaments. So strengthening these through bent arm movements are really important before moving on to static movements. Also, because we have a longer lever length, when it comes to straddle exercises like the straddle front lever, we can actually utilize stretching so that we can get a wider straddle, and it's going to decrease our lever length, which is going to help and make it easier to hold the static. This is going to be a comprehensive guide covering the horizontal and vertical pushing and pulling movements, as well as core exercises and leg exercises that you need to become a complete calisthenics athlete as a taller and heavier person. This course is going to give you the foundational knowledge to learn every calisthenics skill there is out there. Skills such as front lever, one-arm pull-up, and handstand push-ups are all achievable to you. You just have to put in the time and effort. But anyway, let's get into it. Starting off with our warm-up, we're going to hit the wrists in all planes of motion, opening and closing, leaning forwards and backwards, as well as turning the wrists facing the opposite direction and pulling towards us. This is going to get the wrists nice and warm before we start, and we're going to do 10 reps of each, followed by some wrist rotations going both ways. We are then going to warm up the scapula in protraction and retraction positions as we use this in all aspects of our training. Following this will be dynamic movement going into a forward fold and back to a deep squat. The more you do this, the better you'll get at this, so just stick to it and wait it out. Next, we're going to go for a side squat and a reach. This is going to also open the hamstring and get into the thoracic. We're going to try and do this for 10 reps until we feel nice and warm. After this, we're going to do a squat reach with the band. So get the band, pull it over your head, and slowly try and get into a shoulder dislocation position, coming back and forth. This is going to get a nice hollow position in our body, and we're going to open the shoulders with strict form. We're then going to finish the warm-up with band pull-aparts. Starting off with a horizontal pushing is the basic push-up. This is really important to do properly, guys, so keep your elbows in and keep your core tight. You can also do variations of this in a triangle position or a diamond position on the ground, and make this harder by bringing your hands closer to your waist. This is called a pseudo planche push-up, and you can do any of these on your knees also. Next up, the pike push-up is our vertical overhead position, and this can be made harder by bringing the hands and feet closer together. The pike push-up is a difficult exercise, so reduce your range of motion if you have to, and to make this exercise harder, you can slowly hover at the bottom. Next up, the dip is a fantastic movement, and you need 2 parallel bars or chairs to do this. You can do this with the hands behind you or next to you. You can choose the position which feels most comfortable to you and move to a more difficult position once you can do 12 reps comfortably. The front dip position is also an alternative, but is a more advanced movement. Next up is a horizontal pulling or Australian pull-up. You can go under the bar and pull as high as you can, and you can use a resistance band to help you as you progress if this is too difficult. If you don't have a resistance band, you can also bring your feet closer together, and to make this harder, you can move towards a front lever row. Next is a vertical pulling, which is going to be the pull-up. I suggest you get a pull-up bar off Amazon or something you like, and you can practice doing negatives until you can do the positive. Focus on strict form, coming all the way down and pulling all the way up. After this, we need to focus on our core. L-sits are fantastic for this, and you can start in a tuck position and get lower and more straight as you progress. Seated ab compressions are also a fantastic core exercise. You can make this harder or easier by bringing your hands closer to your feet or further away from your feet. The more you lean back, the easier this is going to be. Lastly, we're going to focus on our legs. The pistol squat is a fantastic exercise for balance and strength. You can use assistance to help you when you start off. The higher the assistance, the easier it's going to be. So go to your level and focus on that. Nordic curls are a great way to train those quads. You can use a wall as assistance, and as you progress, you can get lower and come off the wall. We can hit our hamstrings by going into a glute bridge position, extending the legs and slowly bringing them together. This is a very intense exercise, so focus on one leg at a time if you need to when you start, and pull in very slowly. Reverse hypers are fantastic for building glute strength for the planche or back lever. Go on the ground and slowly lift your legs, trying to keep your legs as straight as possible. At the end of the workout, I like to focus on my flexibility. So go for a nice forward lean and try and hold each position for at least 30 seconds. Again, you can go on the ground and do some twisting motion as well as forward folding on both sides. And remember to focus on the pancake stretch as well as opening the hips, which is going to give you a wider straddle. You can do this in a frog position and using a wall in a middle split position, or you can actually go for the straight middle split position as well if you feel comfortable. The horse stance is really good for strengthening the legs also and opening the hips up before you get into your middle split position. Again, try and hold each of these positions for at least 30 seconds. Lastly, we need to focus on the wrists and keep them nice and strong. So grab a band or a dumbbell and do reps in each direction that's shown until you feel some burn. You can do this for 2 to 3 sets or as many sets as you feel necessary. So here are 2 programs that you can use. The first one being a 3 times per week full body workout with a full warm-up here. Do 10 reps of each exercise for 1 set for the warm-up, followed by the exercises for the full body workout. Do 3 sets to start and make sure you feel comfortable doing at least 8 reps for each exercise. And as you get better, you can progress onto using and doing more sets, more volume, and more progressive overload. Next training style is a push-pull split, with the same warm-up going through 1 set of 10 reps for each exercise, and then moving on to a push workout one day and a pull workout the following, and then from there having a rest day. You can do a push-pull-push split and then rest, but I think as a beginner it's better to start off with starting with push, pull, and then rest, and giving yourself that extra rest day that you need to recover. You can obviously adjust this later when you feel more comfortable, and this is really just a guide to get you started. Again, start with 3 sets and go from there. So the last and final thing is how to do progressive overload. Progressive overload is making things harder so that we are able to not just adapt to what we're doing, we're able to actually continually adapt and keep getting stronger. So to add progressive overload to our workouts, we need to be doing more in some capacity than we did before. So the first way we can do this is by increasing our reps. And that might mean just doing 2 extra reps or 1 extra rep every workout. And that's slowly going to build up your strength over time until you cap out at 12 reps, as I've stated. And then we're going to increase the intensity and try and go for 8 reps. The other option is also to vary the intensity. So I've stated here that doing an 8 to 12 rep range is great, and that is fantastic and is going to build you muscle over time, and that's fantastic. When you get stronger and when you feel more comfortable doing the workouts, you can lower the rep range by increasing the intensity of the exercise. And I don't recommend doing this first because we want to build some muscle first before getting to a deep tension on the tendons and ligaments, which is what happens when you go for higher intensity workouts with lower rep ranges. So focus firstly on your 8 to 12 rep range for at least 6 weeks, and then you can do some management around doing maybe 5 reps or 4 reps for an exercise to make it more intense, and you can play around with that. Maybe one day you do more high intensity, one day you do lower intensity of 8 to 12 rep range. Another way to increase progressive overload is by adding more sets or more training days, and this is going to give you in turn more volume and more repetition, which is going to force your muscles to have to adapt more and faster to those training days. Also, changing up your training style is a great way to progressively overload, and it's usually overlooked, but changing your way that you train is going to change your body's adaptation process. It's going to trick your mind, it's going to trick your body, and it's going to feel new. And by actually changing things up, sometimes you can actually push a bit harder, and it stops you from getting bored with your workouts. And the last thing, which really is the same as varying the intensity, but adding weight to your basic workouts. I can't stress this enough, guys. This is such a positive and such a great way to build so much strength in calisthenics. And doing weighted pull-ups and dips, even if you start with a 2.5 kg dumbbell between your legs, is going to make massive gains in the future. And you can slowly go up with this every week as you feel stronger and stronger. You can start with a 2.5 kg, and the following week you can go up to 5 kg, following week 7.5 kg, making sure you're doing 5 to 8 reps at a time. And this is slowly going to build up huge strength. And this is what I did to actually build massive strength in my dips and pull-ups. And this really progressed and transitioned well to front lever and my one-arm pull-ups. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment below and I'll respond to you as soon as possible. Remember to hit subscribe, stay strong, and remember, guys, this is not a race, it is a journey. So enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, and have lots and lots of fun. Thanks, guys.